treat the illness. They don't want to stop you from getting the illness.
Well, do you ever wonder why drug companies and Kentucky Fried Chicken and fast food operations sponsor things like Race for the Cure? And the Susan B. Komen Foundation is sponsored by drug companies and sponsored by the people who produce foods and people who produce products that are linked to breast cancer. I mean, what's the logic there? Why would a drug company that's making drugs to fight breast cancer, supposedly fight breast cancer, what would be their vested interest in keeping breast cancer in the public consciousness? Why would they want people to be terrified of breast cancer? Why would they want to keep bringing up breast cancer everywhere you turn? It's in order to get people paranoid enough, freaked out enough that they participate in the medical model. And that's the problem with breast cancer. You don't hear people talking about, to take care of breast cancer, changing your essential fatty acids, not eating fast food, not eating Kentucky Fried Chicken, not participating in the kinds of things that cause breast cancer. They talk about treating breast cancer. They talk about curing breast cancer, but they don't talk about not participating in the things that cause the breast cancer. Breast cancer.
And by running all the different movements and having the different races and things with well-meaning people, they then control the whole debate about it to make sure that that information is never discovered.
Exactly. They act like they're the knights in shining armor. They act like they're the saviors. They act like they're the people who are going to save you from the breast cancer.
But let's look at the facts. We now, and anybody can just search this, it's a fact, lead the world in cancer of every type, including breast cancer. And every industrialized nation that has the vaccines, the GMO, the monosodium glutamate that they base this fast food in, that's where you see this going on. And places where it's not happening, they have the intensifying longevity.
That's right. Breast cancer, prostate cancer, these are diseases of lifestyle. These are diseases of the way we participate in our lives. They're not inevitable. You don't have to get cancer. They're the signs of a dysfunctional culture, the signs of dysfunctional lifestyle choices.
Okay, I want to get into all this with you here today because you're here in studio with us. But before we go any further, I'd like you to tell folks about your awakening, where you came from, your process, to now, being a leading person out there exposing all this.
I'm a pharmacist, and let me tell you something. Pharmacists know how the sausage is made. As a registered pharmacist, one of the things that I saw was that the people who are getting the drugs are the people who can least stand the drugs. Old people, sick people, and young people. Those are the people who are taking most of the prescription medicines. One of the things pharmacists study, and we study this at length, is side effects. We study toxicities. We study medicines. We study diseases, and we study side effects of toxicity, side effects of medications, to the extent where one time I watched a movie in pharmacy school where the movie was promoting a new class of medications that was supposed to revolutionize heart disease, and the movie lasted 60 minutes, and 15 minutes was about how wonderful the new drug was, the new class of drugs it was for that was going to combat high blood pressure, and the last 45 minutes was the side effects caused by the medication. And when I saw things like this, I realized that, wait a minute, there's something wrong with this pharmaceutical model. Then in pharmacy school, we study diseases as if they were nutritional deficiencies, and we study medications we study nutrients as if they were medications. So when you combine the fact that on the one hand you have diseases as the manifestations of nutritional deficiencies, and on the other hand you have medicinal properties to vitamin A and to vitamin C and to vitamin E, it kind of makes sense that why the heck are we using pharmaceuticals with their side effects when what we're treating is really, in many cases, deficiency states? And the medicines that we could use to treat the deficiency states are completely non-toxic, they're completely side effect free, and they're literally the cures to the deficiency diseases. By definition, a deficiency disease is cured by the nutrient that you give to fill up the deficiency. So when I graduated pharmacy school and I saw that people were getting all these medications, were sicker than ever before, I combined that with my pharmacy background.
Our life expectancy is now fallen.
It's fallen. It's like 26th now.
But let me add, as you know, but I've seen the actuaries on this, up until even the 20s and 30s, if you lived past about 5, and then you took that infant mortality out because kids did die more often then, if you took the infant mortality out, longevity was way further than it is now. I mean, they know exactly what they're doing.
Even when the settlers came to the New World from Europe, they had higher life expectancies. When they came here from Europe, Europe was trash when the settlers came here in the 1600s and the 1700s, the 1500s. Europe had been trash for almost 1,000 years. When they came here to the New World, and all of a sudden they had fresh air, and they had wonderful agriculture, and they had great fish, and they had all kinds of game, their life expectancy was 75, 80 years old. And this is in the 1700s. We had higher life expectancies. So the fact of the matter is that we're not sick, we're starving. And what I saw as a pharmacist, when I started to dispense nutrients to people who had been on a medication, I saw blood pressure drop. I saw weight drop. I saw the markers of diabetes improve using nutritional supplements. And I just put one and one together. And I started using nutritional supplements in my practice. And I've been doing it for now close to 30 years.
Mike Adams talks about being a computer programmer, very successful, but being really unhealthy. And he got off the fast food and stuff, and he got better right away. And then now he's in super good shape and incredibly healthy.
It's not hard to do, but you know what, Alex? People think it's a miracle because we have been so conditioned to believe that our body's demise is inevitable. We've been so conditioned to believe that, oh, you're 30 or 35, you're just going to get arthritis. Oh, you're 30 or 35, you're just going to have a fatty liver. Do you know 30% of Americans suffer from fatty liver disease, maybe more? And if you go to the doctor and he says, oh, you got a little fatty liver, you know what he'll tell you? He'll say it's normal because the medical model says that our demise is normal. And the only thing we can do is stave it off symptomatically.
How do you reverse a fatty liver?
Drugs. Lots of ways, and that's what I'll tell you in a second. But that's a great question because there are so many different ways to reverse these signs. Fatty liver, I'll just give you a couple of good examples. Fructose, fruit sugar, is processed directly by the liver. In the last 30 or 40 years, we've gone from zero consumption of high fructose corn syrup to roughly 60 pounds of high consumption per person in this country, and that doesn't include the fructose that we get from.
And they know it converts differently, and
converts in the liver.
And then it blocks key endocrines, correct?
Well, the liver produces all kinds of hormones, but the point is that fructose is processed directly by the liver. Paleologically, we didn't grow up with fructose. The human body grew up in the African savannah. There was no fructose on the African savannah. We were lucky if we found a little bit of berries somewhere that didn't have a lot of sugar in it. But what's happened over the last 50 or 60 years, I think it was early 70s when we started to get into a lot of high fructose corn syrup, is our ingestion of this stuff has skyrocketed.
And look at diabetes.
And the body can't handle it.
It's up several thousand percentage points.
Absurd. And in pharmacy school, when I graduated in 1986, they told us this was going to happen. Today, 1 out of 3 Americans is either diabetic or pre-diabetic.
And instead, it was an actuary of let's go make a bunch of money off this.
Well, here's a very important point, Alex. We treat things at the top of the tree. The root is usually in the digestive system, the blood sugar system, and the adrenal system. And from there, you get heart disease. From there, you get cancer. From there, you get skin diseases. From there, you get all of the diseases that we're treating with drugs. They're at the top of the tree. If you want to treat disease, you have to go to the root. And that means the digestive system, the blood sugar system, and the adrenal system, which is connected to the thyroid. When we're born, Alex, human beings are born with big heads because we're smarter than other animals. We have big heads. So we come out of the womb early because the head has to come through the birth canal. So nature has designed a system where we come out of the womb early. That means that our digestive system and our immune system are immature. So nature has designed a system where mother's milk, human breast milk, will provide factors that build your digestive system and your immune system. If you're born without getting breastfed, or you're not breastfed long enough, or your mother was undernourished, and that basically covers just about everybody.
That's why IQs are dropping.
Your immune
and they knew when they fed babies, most of this formula is half corn syrup, half. Some of them are 60 plus. They know this is literally a death sentence to their brain. That's why so many of these adults and people, it's like you're not even talking to a person.
Well,
they are mentally retarded.
So how do you deal with something like that? Well, first of all, you got to have a lot of motivation. You got to be motivated to make a change. But the gift of the human body, Alex, is it will turn on a dime if you turn on a dime.
But I'm going back to the viciousness of the system when they said, women, you all got to go work. And by the way, here's this thing for your baby. And it is a formula for a 85 IQ low-grade moron. And that's who the general public, thank God my mother breastfed me.
You're lucky.
I mean, thank God. And I've seen the studies where the CC size of the brain doesn't even grow to your genetic cranial size when you don't get those fats, because you're designed to get that fat from your mother.
Yes.
And now they're saying, don't let babies have fat in their milk. And they're saying, give them, it's absolutely, we need to give them statins at birth.
Well, cholesterol, breast milk has some of the highest concentrations of cholesterol on the planet, is in human breast milk.
And the brain's made out of cholesterol.
Well, the neural sheaths, the covering of the nerves are made out of cholesterol. That's exactly right. That whole statin drug thing, that's another scandal. Oh, my God. The idea.
But again, the Rockefellers who funded the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute, they had discovered all this. They knew cancer was viral, put it in the shots. They knew you need cholesterol, get it out of the population. Right. They literally are turning us into zombies. Stay there. Let's break this down the other side. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs is our guest. We'll be right back. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, we're only going to have Aaron here for 5 minutes. He's going to be interviewing Ben Fuchs in a two-part lengthy interview that will air the first of tonight on InfoWars Nightly News, and then the other second part later in the week. But at the same time, of course, I am always promoting whatever I'm getting into, whether it's gold, whether it's the Second Amendment, whether it's Ron Paul. Been supporting Ron Paul for 17 years. Been supporting the Second Amendment for a long time. Been pushing gold and silver for 12 years, and it's gone from, well, gold $260 an ounce to $1,700 plus, silver from $5 an ounce to $30 plus. And I am promoting this. Tangy Tangerine, Beyond Tangy Tangerine. My mother, I gave her some of this. She's on into vitamins and minerals. She's a big exercise person. She tried some stuff over the years. She did it. Now she begs for me to get her more. And has lost a ton of weight. And she says before, when she would do long-distance swimming, sometimes it would get kind of painful, like her muscles were kind of, like almost catching. Now she says it's like they're oiled. And my mom I was always in great shape. She's in killer shape now. I know there's some NBA basketball players I saw online that actually take this. And
Theo Ratliff.
Yeah, he says his longevity is because of this.
Right.
And then there's Pollen Burst, which I also take, but it's got some, 70 milligrams of the caffeine in it. So instead of that afternoon coffee that didn't even do anything anymore, I just hit one of these bad boys, and it's got all the B vitamins, and it's awesome. But quite frankly, it's the Tangy Tangerine. And like you said, the worse off you are, because I was in really bad shape from overworking and not being healthy, the worse you are, the better you feel it just immediately. Now, I brought Aaron in here. I drug him during the break. There's not even 2 mics set up. In fact, I called him in here 30 seconds before. Look at Aaron, ladies and gentlemen. Dun, dun, dun. In fact, we can zoom in over here with this camera. Aaron, you had to have lost 60 pounds.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Probably 65.
That's awesome. That's awesome, bro. Good job. Good job. And was it hard?
Not really. I mean, I've been working out a lot harder before and didn't lose the weight. It was when I took the right vitamins.
That's awesome.
That's right. He was running, jogging, and lifting weights. And I said, Aaron, I'm getting fat. You're getting a little overweight. I said, let's commit to work out. What about a year or 2 years ago? And you'd leave work to go work out and come back. It didn't work. Didn't work for me. As soon as you start going, wait, I'm going to take a protein shake because then my body isn't hungry. Don't fight the craving. Or I'm going to take a mineral drink. It's over. I mean, I've only been really doing this for 2.5 weeks now. I kept eating around the edges, screwing around. I've been doing this 2.5 weeks, and actually I went and 11 pounds lost. 11 pounds on Tangy Tangerine and the One World Way, by the way.
It happens to everybody, Alex. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this happen. The reason I get so passionate about this is because I've seen it over and over and over again. Blood pressure.
And the system knows. The system knows.
They have to know. It's biochemistry. What I'm telling you here is not my theory. This is biochemistry. There's hardwiring for sugar in your brain. If you give your body protein, you won't want the sugar. There's hardwiring for fat in your brain. If you give your body essential fatty acids, you won't want the French fries. There's hardwiring for minerals. If you give your body good minerals, you won't want the salt.
Ted Anderson's dad couldn't go fishing and didn't know who he was anymore. Ted, for a few months, got him on Tangy Tangerine essential fatty acids. He knew who he was again, could go fishing. He was back. He went to the doctor, and the medical doctor said, I've tested his blood, and because he's on Coumadin, he's not allowed to have these vitamins like this. Take him off, and he's gone again. And Ted gave me permission to tell this.
They take you off of broccoli. They take you off of cruciferous vegetables because they have vitamin K.
No, that's what they said. That's what they said.
No green vegetables. That's what they tell you. You're on vitamin K.
And he's gone. And I hate to be mean, but Ted says I can tell it. His mother says, we're doing what the doctor says. And it's basically bye-bye to Ted's dad. When it worked, in a couple months, his dad was literally back. They know. The doctor knows.
It's biochemistry.
They know. That's what they told him. No green vegetables. Yeah, well, I mean, now we're Al-Qaeda.
Yeah.
No green vegetables.
Vegetables.